do?
I think it's healthy.
Okay,
I think it's healthy.
I thought we
I
just
think with all
renominated.
deference to the quality of work we've been getting.
I nominate Jeff to be that.
Okay, I'll second that. I didn't.
This is the Lorraine County Board of Commissioners and Lorraine County Planning Commission. It's a joint public hearing today. It is now 2:45, and it's regards to the updates to the subdivision regulations of Lorraine County. I think I have to do roll call. Oh, well, we have to pledge, right?
Let's start with a pledge to the flag.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Riddell,
Here.
Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Gallagher,
Here.
Mr. Gibbs,
Here.
Mr. Wiesmeyer,
Here.
Miss Haynes,
She's not here.
Mr. Bourne,
Here.
Mr. Kinetchis,
Here.
Mr. Armbruster, and then Mr. Hignett. No? Okay. We have a quorum. Mr. Greenspan, you are up.
Great, thank you. Is this on?
Should be.
Todd, can you? Yep, we're good. All right, well, commissioners and commission, thank you for allowing us to have this public hearing, this joint public hearing today. I know this is unique to, are we good? No?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm hearing the microphones aren't on. Is it on? We're good? Okay. This is unique to Lorraine County and having a joint hearing. I'm not sure, and talking with Teresa, that we've done this before, but this is required by ORC in order for us to advance the subdivision regulations project that I've been working on for the last 15 months on behalf of Lorraine County. And just briefly, before we go into the slideshow, what this is ultimately is we are updating and modernizing the administrative process for which subdivisions are reviewed and recommended from townships and to their respective Board of Trustees. So in no way does anything that's being presented in here usurp or change the authority of townships. It is merely administrative review so that we can more effectively process the applications from developers as they move forward through the process of subdivision regulations and submissions. So with that, so I can't see it here, is that?
Can you see
So-
that one?
I can see that one, yes. So,
I guess not.
I definitely can't. Todd, is there any way this monitor could go live? This one's not live.
No,
All right,
you'll have to use the,
all right. Teresa, can I get my printouts? Thank you. They're only for up close. Thank you. So what I want to do is go over some of the goals that we set forward when we started this task of reviewing the guidelines. And what we did here, the goal of, and I'm not going to read, by the way, every word off every slide, but I think there are some that are important to highlight. The goals of consolidating and modernizing subdivision regulations in Lorraine County, Ohio, are to create a clear, consistent, and effective development framework that reflects current best practices, promotes coordinated growth, and supports residential development while protecting public health, safety, and the environment. So some of the strategic priorities that we went through when we started and went through this process was obviously we wanted to streamline the process, ensure consistency, incorporate modern standards, enhance transparency, promote coordination, and support quality development. To provide some context, Todd, next slide. Currently in Lorraine County, there are two sets of subdivision regulations. The engineer's office has a standard and the planning commission has a standard. And there are some inconsistencies and there are some conflicts that have been created between the two. What we intended to do here was consolidate that into one consistent plan. So definitions are consistent from one to the other, which has been a little bit of a challenge. It helps for streamlined processes in coordination and development. So the purpose, as I may have just already stated, is to provide clarity and address concerns and reinforce the purpose of modernizing consolidated regulations in a way that supports your township's authority. To be explicitly clear, the protocol changes do not usurp local control. Rather, they streamline the internal review and recommendation process of the County Planning Commission and the County Engineer's Office. These updates are designed to support each township's unique character and vision while ensuring the review process is efficient, consistent, and aligned with modern standards. I said I wasn't going to read every slide, but I thought this one was really important for everybody to understand, because I did get a concern, and this was a late ad slide, and you might not have seen this last month when I made a presentation here on the same material, because there was a concern out there that what we were doing here was changing the way townships operate or their guidance and vision for their specific community. We are not intending to do that at all. All we're doing is modernizing and streamlining the process in which the administration of the applications are submitted and reviewed. Next slide. Okay, so I just want to go over the process. So the project was initiated around a year ago, September. We did significant research and benchmarking. We provide drafts of draft revised regulations. We had engagement from stakeholders. This is the approval process, and once it's approved, it'll be recorded. Then the implementation shall begin. Next slide, please. So the project initiation phase, we identified the need for the update, and we defined goals. And what's important to note here is the consolidated two subdivision regulation documents into a cohesive document. So the Lorain County Engineers Specifications and Regulations, the current document, has not been updated since 2004, so in 21 years. And the county's Planning Commission sub-regulations were updated in 2019. Next slide. So you might be asking, who was involved in the process and how did we get here? So I was tasked with spearheading this process. We had assistance from John Gall and Matt Schoen from my team. And then we also had various other members of our community staff, our county staff, Kristen Brandon and Kelly Smith. We had Don Romanchik and Lynn Ickes from Stormwater. We had our county engineer with Bob Kleiber and Sean DeFalla, legal counsel from Lee Prue and Kathy Prowse, and members of the development community. So this process was not created in a vacuum. The outcome was created in a collaborative effort with those who are engaged in the administration of the review process. Next slide, please. So research and benchmarking. We looked at our existing county planning and county engineers and identified sections to retain, revise, and remove. We used benchmarking standards compared to other neighboring counties, such as Erie County, and we collected data from stakeholders. So we had 7 meetings with developers. Each meeting averaged about 2 hours. Our county planning and stormwater, we met 4 times. Each meeting lasted an average of 3 hours. County planning, stormwater management, and the engineer, we had 4 meetings, each averaging around 4 hours. And then we pulled everybody together and had a marathon 6.5-hour meeting. Now, this doesn't include the time that each of us individually put into the review to come forward before these meetings. I would probably guess that collectively there may be as much as 1,000 to 1,500 hours involved in this process when you take the time that everybody took to prepare for these meetings alone and to come together and come up with a consolidated plan and an agreed upon process. Next slide, please. So we put together draft revised regulations. They focused again on consolidation, modernization, and internal review. Next slide. We had process engagement, which involved informing stakeholders, collected feedback, and we had several revised drafts as we worked through the process. Next slide. The approval process. So this is where we are right now. We're at the tail end of the approval process. On October 29th, the Planning Commission, we sent out final draft submission regulations and a comp doc to members of the subdivision, this review committee that I mentioned. Planning Commission sent out notices regarding this hearings to all townships. That's supposed to be done by law 30 days prior to today's meeting. We sent it out 7 weeks in advance, trying to be as transparent and as engaging as possible. Planning Commission gives its public notice hearing on November 17th. Board of Commissioners gave public notice twice, which is required by law, both on December 4th and December 11th. Subdivision Review Committee met on the 16th, although we didn't discuss it there. It's not a requirement, but I had that on here because anticipation when I put this together that I would be making a presentation at that time. And this is where we are today on the 18th. The expectation is, and I may be a little overzealous, but the expectation today is that the Planning Commission, when they meet, and the commissioners, when they meet after the Planning Commission, will approve the subdivision regulations as revised for the development in the townships, subdivision development in the townships in Lorraine County. You'll have the opportunity to vote on two measures in each of your respective meetings. Both have to do with the subdivision regulations. So what you're going to be voting on first are the regulations themselves, and the second item will be a separate resolution regarding the fee schedule. So in the current documents that the county is operating under, the fee schedule is part of the document. It's been recommended by best practices that we separate the fee schedule from the subdivision regulations, and that's what we're doing here today. So in your respective meetings, when the Planning Commission meets, I would hope that the recommendation would be to refer to the Board of County Commissioners both the subdivision regulations in one resolution, and recommend a second resolution regarding the fee schedule. To touch on the fee schedule, the Planning Commission fee schedule is remaining unchanged. It has not been changed since 1984. There are no increases in fees for 40 years as it relates to subdivision regulation fees that the county Planning Commission provides. And I believe, and it's a similar situation, although I'm not sure of the time frame from the engineer, but there are no increases in fees from the county engineer that's being proposed today, correct?
It's my understanding, we modeled ours after, sorry, good catch, Tom. I believe that the engineer's office modeled ours after one of the cities here within Lorraine County. I don't know if you guys want to know which city we modeled after. It was one that was brought up to us several times as having good standards, and they were a good model to go after. We reviewed it, and we didn't have any issues with what they were doing. So I don't know comparatively as to what we were charging versus what we will be charging. I think it'll be just a little bit different, maybe more upfront, less per lot, or maybe vice versa. But we are modeling it as it's North Ridgeville is who we're doing it after.
Next slide. So the implementation, once, assuming it's passed by both a recommendation and adoption by the commissioners, a certified copy will be sent to the recorder's office, and once the recorder receives it and records it, then they shall be the subdivision regulations in Lorraine County. What I want to highlight to you, and one of the things that I put together in this process was a comparative document. I know County Administrator Armbruster and I are familiar with those in the legislature. It compares the current regulations to the proposed changes in a macro sense. We're looking at the major items. That's not what I'm going to be presenting each of those items, but I'm going to highlight to you in the next few slides a couple of the major changes that are being proposed. So next slide, please, Todd. So as I talked about Article 1, the introduction, what we're doing is consolidating two independent documents regarding subdivision regulations into one. So the introduction reflects a unification of that. I talked about definitions. We did consolidate definitions and came to standardized definition terms. To give you an example, minor differences, but differences enough, is that in the county planning definitions versus the county engineer, the definition of a cul-de-sac is slightly different. And so that may cause confusion in the development community as to why do we have a cul-de-sac with two different definitions. We now consolidate that to eliminate any confusion as to what a cul-de-sac definition is. The third item there has to do with the consolidation of a fee schedule. So now there's one fee schedule that's presented in one resolution instead of separate fee schedules. Give you another example. I'll just move down. The definition of major and minor subdivisions, there was conflicting language. A major subdivision by ORC is 6 or more. A minor is 5 or fewer, but our codes had a minor subdivision as 5 or fewer and a major is 5 or greater. So the question came in, what if somebody had 5? Is it major or is it minor? So we now have parity with state law. Just some minor examples of some things in here. Next slide, please. One exciting item in here next slide, Todd. I'll talk to it. One of the items in here is that we were able to work with the county engineer in that there's now an alternative for the developers if they would like to engage a separate engineer to review their plans. And the process would be the engineer would put out an RFP, they would review, and the county commissioners would then approve a list of engineers that the developers may be able to choose from. The intent there is to streamline the process. If the engineer's office gets a significant amount of submissions, this will help streamline the process, which is the intent. One of the other major items that we did in this as it relates to the review process. Right now, the review process within the Planning Commission, it could take up to 90 days for various levels of review if it has to go back and be re-reviewed. With Kristen and Kelly's guidance, we were able to reduce that from 90 days to 57 days in review. And so that is a 37% reduction in time to assist in development moving forward in Lorain County. We move through next slide, Todd.
Next slide, Don.
I don't remember. You did? Okay, great, thank you. There are some others, like I said, I'm not going to go through every one of them. There was one other item as it related to the engineer, and the engineer also agreed to review and streamline their processes, and their process review time went from 90 days to I'm drawing a blank on the number, and I don't have it down here, but it's a 70% reduction in time to review specific requirements and demands upon the engineer. The last slide is just a question mark. I'll be glad to answer any questions from the Planning Commission or from the commissioners.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You're saying that this was not done in a vacuum.
Right.
Why weren't the townships included in this?
This is an internal review process of our of how the county and the county planning and the engineer operate. So,
Okay, but you understand,
yeah,
every subdivision that this impacts is in a township.
correct. Correct. This does not impact any of the township processes and how they submit to the county. It's an internal review of our administrative process. I understand your question, but this is an internal review of how we operate. We want to provide a more streamlined process.
I have a question, Dave. Does the engineer that is hired have the capability to be the developer's engineer or the subdividers as well?
Is this on?
Yes.
So the way it would work would be the engineer's office. We would put out RFP or RFQ at the beginning of the year. We would review those proposals, and that person would be working through the county is the way it's set up. We did not want the developers to be able to hire their own engineer for review and design. That would have been.
So is there only one engineer that is selected, or is that?
We would start with
Variable.
one, I believe, is the goal, and then depending on how often that path is used, we could always increase it. But I think the first year, we would envision bringing on one additional. I think the intent is still to use the traditional process through our office. This is only if the subdivider chooses that they want someone else reviewing their plans other than our office.
And when you say that, Sean, does that apply to improvement plans and to the final plat, everything down the line, or just to the preliminary plan?
My understanding is the county engineer still has to be involved because we have to sign off and approve on the improvement itself on the final plat. So we would still be working with that consultant. Like I said, it would just be a different set of eyes than the ones internally at our office reviewing the plans. So our office would still have some involvement. It would still have some oversight, on it. But we would want the consultant to be performing that review by themselves. We wouldn't want to be instructing them how to review a set of plans.
And so then you're saying that he's involved right down to all the steps to the end?
I would imagine he would be involved right down through the end. And then the way it's written as well is that the developer would be paying the consultant's fees, similar to the way we do third-party inspection.
And this was modeled after Erie County. Erie County has this process in place currently. Yes.
Question for you, Dave.
You don't have to raise your hand. You can,
What's that?
you don't have to raise your hand. You can just.
So the changes, the regulations that I were sent to me are missing sections. I pointed this out to you after the last planning commission meeting,
I,
and I've never received
well,
any of those
I noticed
sections?
on November 10th, we sent out packages to everyone. So I know that when you mentioned that to me, I thought if I didn't send it out, I apologize to you, but it was my intent.
I
to
don't know
send it.
anybody else
I
that
didn't
has
get one
received it.
either.
Yeah, it was sent out, sent out on November 10th, and November 10th, there was a letter sent out to the Township Association, the Subdivision Review Committee, and the Planning Commission to receive all the documents, including the comp doc, not only the regulations themselves, but the comp doc, which had all the comparative changes in it as well.
You say they were sent out.
They were emailed,
Okay. So I should have received something,
correct.
and I received nothing. I've talked to other township officials who've never, not seen it. This was only sent out to the subcommittee, the subdivision subcommittee? Who was it sent out to?
No, it was sent out to all the townships, the Township Association, Subdivision Review Committee, and the Planning Commission, as well as the townships themselves.
Do we have any other township officials other than Eric?
I've never received it, I just went through my emails, I got the one on the 29th, but I have never received one on November 10th.
And you
I-
received that because you're on the subdivision
Yeah, it was-
subdivision review.
Subdivision committee.
Yeah, I don't think it was sent out, Dave, I'm sorry.
Our township didn't get anything either.
I think you got a big error here.
You're on the planning commission, did you get one for being on the planning commission?
I got the early one that came out. I didn't get anything recently, and I looked through my emails.
I mean, I'm sorry, Dave, it didn't get sent out. You're saying it didn't, it did not.
Well, we'll have to research that and find out why it didn't go out.
Well, but the fact was, we didn't get the information we needed.
Other than you making the statement to me a month ago, which I thought I sent it back out to you, I was unaware that it was not sent out. Nobody contacted me directly. The email that was sent out on November 10th had my contact name and info at the bottom. So I'm not sure how more to respond than I was not communicated. It was never communicated to me that it wasn't received until now. Our requirement by state law is to notify of this meeting 30 days in advance. We did that. We believed we sent everything out, including the
Well, you
comp
believe you
documents.
did, but nobody in this room
Okay,
has it that should have gotten it.
okay. As I said, this document is an administrative review of our internal processes.
So the townships don't matter. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say, no, sir, and please, no, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Well, no, that we weren't included in anything, so I'm sorry, as a township trustee,
Yeah,
I take offense to not even being included in the conversation.
offended in being included in the conversation regarding an internal administrative review of process? Is that, I'm just trying to understand your
For
your
everything
statement.
that impacts the
Right.
township.
Yeah.
Okay, so. as a
Because when
member-
these subdivisions go in, the streets are given to the township,
Correct,
and thereafter, they have to maintain it.
and nothing's changed as far as your obligations, responsibility, review, or
I
authority.
understand, but don't you think we should have input into these subdivisions then?
I don't, Sean, I'm not aware that your input, authority, or direction is being usurped in any way by this. This is internally how the county now reviews and makes recommendations to the townships.
But I know for a fact that the county engineer always tells me, listen, we want to do it the way your township wants it done.
Correct.
We've been told that many times.
And that doesn't change with this, Carl and Dick.
And that's, Sean, I am not arguing with you at all. I agree with what you said.
Oh, I was just gonna let you know, so what we did, what the intent was of this, of any updates that came as the engineering side, was to make sure that the townships were not that we weren't trying to dictate something that the township should be, right? So like, when it comes to, I gotta give you, one of the highlights was cement stabilization, right? So
Right.
it's a big hot topic. before, I think it was written in our code that cement stabilization had to be done. There were developers, and then there's other townships now that have actually taken that out of their regulation that says that that's something that can be done, right, if it's needed. If you're doing construction right in the middle of May, or, in the middle of the summer, you've got a hard sub-base, it passes a proof roll, is there a need to cement stabilize? We now put that onus on, I guess, on two people. One, if the township requires it, then it's gonna be required by our office, right? So a lot of the townships have their own resolutions that do require that, and certain other things for residential development. None of that gets taken out of this. This is just what county requirements are. And then, from our end, if the township doesn't require cement stabilization, what we did was say, okay, well, we're gonna require the subdivider to go ahead and get with a geotechnical engineer and make a recommendation with a PE stamp behind it. And then our office would still review it, and essentially go with that recommendation, right? So it was never about taking anything away from the townships. It was, if anything, making sure that what you guys wanted was still being done, but we are your engineer. We're not gonna let our standards go by the wayside, because we agree with you. You guys are the ones that eventually get these roads, and that's why we wanted to be involved throughout the process, because in the end, we have to, our county engineer has to approve that the project was completed to the standards agreed upon, so, on the final plat.
And I agree that you guys are doing a great job. I agree that the changes you've made are more than acceptable, but my point here is the fact that the township did have and does have input into certain aspects. But since we do, I feel that we should have been included in the discussions. You're gonna have everybody else. I know, Mr. Greenspan, you're telling me this is only administrative, but it's impactful for the townships. Because after the developers are done, guess what? This all gets passed over to the townships, and then we get to maintain it from there into perpetuity. And at that point, it's a big deal for us, because if things are not done properly, they impact us tremendously.
Agreed, and I'm not aware, I'll look to Sean or I'll look
We're all in agreement.
to Don. Yeah, we're all in agreement on that, and I don't believe this
But
in any way.
I don't see how can we approve this? You didn't get us the documentation that we need. We don't have a complete set of the regulations.
Well, then what we can do is we will resend it. We'll, at your discretion and the commissioners, if that's the direction we want to move. And we have no hard and fast deadline that we have to pass this by today or by the end of this year. We want you to be satisfied with what's in there. To your point, if the trustees and the townships wish to, once again, I apologize it didn't get out to you. I wasn't aware of it until literally just now. And you did bring it to my attention. I thought you were an isolated incident. I thought I resent it back out to you. We can defer and come back next month. We've got to go through some public reporting requirements in order to get this meeting noticed and sufficiently. So it's going to be at least a month before we can reconvene this meeting. But be happy to do it. You have to be happy and satisfied. And looking at the commissioners, I know they're going to want their trustees and their townships to be happy and satisfied as well. And so we'll be glad to defer this discussion until notice. We put out a notice. I'll work with our clerk and I'll work with our planning staff, and we'll reconvene this meeting, and you'll have all the materials that we originally sent out. So what you can expect to receive is a draft, the regulations, as well as a comparative document with the major regulations from what's currently in place to what's been proposed changed. Yes, Commissioner.
How long are your arms?
How long?
Yeah, I want to make sure I'm 2 inches further than that away.
Don't worry, I am not a
Just so you know, we've had this discussion before.
Oh, okay.
Okay. For the audience, and it's a pleasure to see people who care enough to participate in the process. But the commissioners, you know, we received that one of the things that was a problem was the relationship and the red tape between the commissioner's goals, the engineer's office, and the planning commission. Everybody was doing their job, but there were conflicts. If we made the planning commission happy, then there was a problem with the engineer. If the engineer was made happy, then the soil and water might have an issue. And so what we did was we convened a group. This was all county level stuff. This is after you all have decided that you've approved the subdivision, you've approved the lot sizes, you approved the pavement width, you approve all of that stuff. This is how the developer then proceeds in order to get his permits from soil and water, from the engineer's office, from planning commission, rural water, sewage capacity, all of that stuff, all has to be decided after you've done and improved the subdivision. It's all done. And so at the end of the day, our red tape was holding you back from the developer delivering the project that you had approved. And when I got here in 2023, we had 2 projects that year that started out at the beginning of the year, and by the time the season ended in the fall, they weren't even out of our approval process. They were not ready to plan and get going for the upcoming year. And when you talk about economic development, you know, those things are already approved. Our job is advisory and to support. We were not supporting the system. We weren't supporting the developers. We weren't supporting the townships. And so we convened our team because we were the problem. We had no problems with townships. Nobody complained about township specs. Nobody complained about township processes. Everything was cool. The problem was on our end, and we were not expeditious in delivering things. And one of the major ones that Dave has already addressed was, you know, if you brought in a new set of drawings, it was 30 days to get a review. And if those drawings came back and there were 2 items on there that need to be re-reviewed, it was the same 30 days. And staff agreed with us, you're right, we don't need 30 days to go over 2 items. We can look at their solution for those 2 items, we could return a review in 10 days. So we made those changes to expedite the process. Similarly, not everybody understands soil stabilization, but I thank Sean for using that because I do.
So do I.
Okay, not everybody does. But say, you know, culvert pipe, there's concrete, there's metal, there's plastic, and there's manufacturers that make all those products, and they have manufactured specs. So what we did was we looked at it and we changed it. The county would say, well, we want concrete pipe, and maybe the township said, no, we want plastic pipe. We were in conflict with the townships. So what we did is we took that spec and said, the developer can use plastic, metal, concrete pipe. He has to follow manufacturer's recommendations for cover, depth, and so forth. That left the townships, you could pick whichever one of the 3 you want, but what was left in place was our requirement that they had to follow manufacturer's specs, which the engineer keeps track of that stuff on behalf of the township. You have to just decide which of the 3 you want. You don't have to decide, well, do we have 8 inches of cover or 12 inches of cover? Sean and staff has that job. And so what we did was we broadened it so that we were never in conflict with any of the township requirements. And the door was open for the townships to use whichever one they wanted, okay? So at the end of the day, I think the impasse in the conversation is if we were going to write a spec that mandated something for the townships, we'd have to have all the townships at the table. What we were doing is just making sure we were not in your way. Now, this other issue with the paperwork, I think that I think that we need to establish, you know, I feel bad that we have that impasse and that we got to this point. I agree that we need to talk about the ability to go forward when you've not had a chance to get the comfort that we did what we said we did, and we didn't do something that you're concerned about. I think if we have missing them, we have to bite the bullet and we have to push this down the road a month. Our only reason in trying to get it done this year is that it started in the first quarter of this year. Actually started a little bit in the fall of '24, but, you know, the baby's 3 months overdue.
Jeff, I think that's what Carl's trying to get across, that when you started thinking about it 15 months ago, if you would have just asked us if we could find some representative that could feel comfortable that they were representing the township's views in a combined effort, not all 20, that we would have had an input and then we would have an output that we could present to the townships.
Well,
And right now, we don't have that.
and Dick, I take full responsibility for that, because as I put the crew together to solve the problem, I put the crew together that was having issues with each other. We had no issues with the township,
Okay.
okay?
Well, now you're making one.
Well, we didn't. We had no issues, and that was, if you want to call that my insensitivity, but,
I
you know,
I agree
when I got two
wholeheartedly.
people that are arguing, I put those two people in a room and say, we ain't leaving the room till we resolved it. And we put the 3 people in the room that had issues, and we didn't know that there was 17 others. You know, nobody from the township came to the commissioners and said, by the way, we're having a problem with the engineer, we're having a problem with planning commission, we got these issues. But the developers came to the commissioners, and they're our constituents, number one. And number 2, they drive our economic development.
Well, but the impression we got was then that you had your ear and we didn't have it. And that's the problem.
Well, I guess you have to look, Dick, I ask you to look at, before you rush to judgment on this issue maybe, but we had your back,
Yeah.
okay? We had your back the entire process, okay? And I ask you to look at the other 482 times you did have my ear.
Well, the one thing that I will say in support of Carl is that I found, and I have the whole thing here in print that I was emailed, that are the regulations being proposed. And as he indicated, I have at least 3 or 4 places where there's written right in the regulation, this is in error, refer to this, and there's nowhere to go to.
They're referred to as error codes.
Yeah, that was, and I fixed those. That
And
was
I
a-
gave you the
yes,
papers
that was a
saying-
broken link that was a
Right.
broken link to a reference of a subsection.
Correct.
That's been corrected.
And I gave that to you, but I have not received anything. And from what the township people that I've talked to, well, even Eric Flynn back here, who sits in the subdivision review with me, he hasn't received it. I mean, so
All right,
We
well,
appreciate
there was
the
a
opportunity.
there was a breakdown, and that needs to be rectified.
here, we will rectify that. We will get them out to you immediately, like, as I said, with the comp doc, so you can have a bold review of the two. Here's what I ask in return. To confirm that you've received it, please reply back, received. That way, there won't be any, because
That would be
somewhere.
I'll do that as soon as I get it.
Perfect, 'cause somewhere along the way,
When you don't get it, right?
Yeah.
that's
If you don't
right.
hear from me,
If you
guess
don't-
what?
Oh, but there's an assumption if you send it, it did get there.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Send a receipt
so let's,
request.
we'll do this, we'll make this commitment, we'll get it out today, tomorrow. If you don't get it by next Monday,
Well,
respond back to me
I
and
guess
say I didn't get it.
the other thing that I would request, I mean, Mr. Connectness and I have looked through these quite a bit. I mean, we've been pretty diligent to go through these. We have a few things that we would like to talk to people, you know. I would like to have a document that is accurate and correct. We think there's some mistakes or maybe some omissions that weren't planned on. I guess the way I look at it, I can write something, don't get nervous. I can write something and proofread it myself 3 times and everything looks fine. Jeff will look at it, and in 2 minutes, he's gonna say, oh, there's a big mistake you got right here. And that's fine. Another pair of eyes is never a bad thing. And I think that's what Dick and I have been trying to do, is have another set of eyes. And I know other people in the township, we'd like to have enough time that we could talk to other people in the townships and see, listen, is this something, is this okay the way it is? Because maybe I'm being too restrictive, and I don't mean to be that way. But I have my opinions, of course.
Sure.
I'd like to get some other people's, I'd like to have a little bit of time to do that.
I would recommend, and we've got a meeting coming up here afterwards, so we'll have to go to Teresa for the final adjudication on process, but.
Well, actually, this is just the joint meeting, so there are 2 meetings after this, one of the planning
So,
commission.
but
one
at
of
the end of the
commissioners.
day, I would say that, you know, this is a big thing.
It is.
It's important to the commissioners. We think it's gonna be a major, you know, everybody's been telling us, you know, cut red tape, do this, do that, and we pulled the staff together. They had the message. It was a very successful project, and I'd like to see it proceed. If we stubbed our toe, it's my responsibility. And if what we want to have is, we want you to have that finished, proofread document for enough time to be able to go through it so you can see that we didn't do anything that you should be concerned about, or that you are concerned about. And if you do have concerns, the opportunity to vet those either through Dave directly or through the planning committee process, because you're right, most of the planning commission activity, you know, it's in the townships. I mean, we may process a few paperwork for air pollution, and I have no idea why that's on the agenda, but that's down so low on my list of priorities, I don't question it, okay? But this is a really important piece of change, and we have the cooperation of all the county people involved in it. I'm proud of our staff, and I want the townships to be as proud of this project as we are. So whatever we have to do to get your trust back and to have you see that we didn't misrepresent anything, because I don't think you'll find it. You can read it 3 times, Carl, but I don't think you'll find it.
I see some errors, little things, okay?
Yeah.
And that's what they are. The way you're putting it together with the county engineer, I applaud that.
Yeah, that's,
I appreciate all of that. It makes it, I've been on this subdivision review subcommittee long enough. I understand how there can be the conflicts. So, right there, you're kind of preaching to the choir. I get it, and I appreciate it. I've been a builder. I have never been a developer. I mean, we've got Mr. Yost back here, that he's been doing it forever. And that's great. I'm glad. And I hope this helps him. I hope it helps all the developers to be able to move forward in a very orderly fashion.
I know we can handle this, Carl, because we put 5 developers in the room and we got them to all agree
Well, that's tough.
on what was important and what wasn't. So at the end of the day, if we can handle them, we're gonna do well with you guys.
That's right.
In defense of some of the stuff that's happened here, it is going to be kind of a living document because there are 190 pages or whatever it is, 150 pages here. Somebody's going to find something down the road, and there are provisions in there to make a change on it without going through a major process like we're going through
Well,
right
that's
now.
what I'm hoping.
Yeah, there is, and you could probably read exactly how it's set, that if there's a change that needs to be done after it's been approved by this committee and the board.
That's very, very close to the beginning of the document, and it says that. And I get that. I do. If it's just small things, yeah, we work through them. But the fact that we're missing sections,
There's a lot of that comes from the integration of 2 documents, and we eliminated 50 pages. And we took 2 documents and made it 1. So it's kind of like the football team. We got 1 game plan now. Okay, and we're here to support the townships, and we're here to support the developers, because you're 2 sides of the same coin. Okay? You decide you want a subdivision, they want to build it. Now we just got to get us out of the way.
right, right.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah, they want to build it, We just want one that.
It will
when it goes-
last.
Yeah, it'll last because it becomes a financial burden on the
Yes.
township.
Sure. If you control the zoning, and if we say, you know, use what the soils engineer says for stabilization, and you go, nope, I want stabilization in every one,
I'll be
that's the way
honest,
it goes.
I'll be honest, I have read through this, and especially the engineering portion of it, I like it better than what I have now.
Good work,
I'll say
Sean.
that out, I mean,
Good work, Sean.
how much did you pay?
So are you going to call the vote?
no, I'm not.
I'll send your Christmas gift in the mail.
So we'll get the documents out to you, respond back that you got it, so we know you got it. You made comments and a developer made comments as well, which we forwarded to the engineer's office. By that, it was my belief that it was out in the open. I didn't have anybody say they didn't get it. So this was news to me today, and we'll correct that issue.
Okay.
So,
So what do we do, table it?
well,
We have to go to public comment.
right, we have to go to public comment on this, and then you have, each planning commission
Yeah, we
and
haven't
the
yet met.
commissioners have called meetings, so you have to open
This
your
meeting
meetings.
together, we have public comment, and then we have our other meetings, okay, to follow, which obviously the complexion of those meetings has changed.
Right,
But everybody took the time to come here, we might as well have the public comment.
correct. So as I understand, Teresa, correct me, so.
I don't know who's chairing this meeting, but you kept looking at me, so.
You're in charge, Bob.
I led the pledge, I'll take the job.
So you'll take public comment. Once that's done, then you will adjourn this public hearing.
Yes.
And
They'll need to come up to
Then the
mic.
planning commission will,
Are we gonna adjourn it?
you have to adjourn the public hearing.
Just start over.
Because we're gonna have to set up a
We got the whole new
whole
setup.
nother one with another set of stuff, yes, so yes.
yeah, so then there'll be a joint, called planning commission meeting. There's no action for you to take. You can open
Okay,
it and
that's all
close
I'll
it.
Correct,
And
We
then
won't
the
have
commissioners
to
will have to
table
meet. There's no action referred to the commissioners. They'd have to open and close it.
correct,
Just to procedurally go through the
Okay.
process.
and that's it. But you do have to take public comment if the board's done talking.
Right, are we taking as part of this
Yes.
convention? There we go. So who wants to control the public comment?
They just have to come up to the podium and state their name and address, just like
Dick,
the
if you
commissioners
wanna,
meeting.
if you wanna,
Do we have any individuals who have signed up for the public comment, and read them by name, Teresa, and we'll call you up to the podium where Dave just moved to the back there, and make your comments, and we like them, if possible, to be 2 minutes or less. Thank you.
Teresa, you got the list?
I know Bob Yost signed up. You don't want?
You're good. Anyone else
And I
come
don't
sign
know,
up? Can we have somebody else talk?
was there anybody else? I didn't see the other list. Eric Flynn,
I like the way you did that by saying, you know, I'll call you out if you wanna speak, you speak.
Yeah,
That's what I do for the commissioner meetings.
I don't know how
I
else.
don't sit there and go, who's that?
We've been taking notes from you, Jeff.
Don will tell you how much trouble that'll get you.
Okay, so the next person would be Eric Flynn.
Eric Flynn, 43287 Jones Road, Wallington, Ohio, Penfield Township trustee. I guess transparency, I think, is what Carl was getting at too. To me, in this process was a little bit lacking. I sit on that subdivision review committee too and found out about 3 weeks before we got the first email that you guys were even doing this. Isn't that right, Carl? It was
Yeah,
it was
basically the
meeting
end of
bef-
September.
Yeah, it was the
We were
meeting
told
before, so about
By Commissioner Riddell.
Jeff was at the meeting and said, explained what you guys were doing, but as a township trustee, Carl and I are looking at each other like, agree with red tape, cut it, makes things streamlined, but also, we are, I would say, like Carl, the largest stakeholders in this group in the townships, is we're the ones getting the subdivisions. It's frustrating that we're not getting a seat at the table. I did catch one thing, and it's probably an oversight on Mr. Greenspan, but when he was talking about all the names of the stakeholders, he listed the engineer's office, so, like 3 or 4 names. The name he didn't read off was the developers that were at the table, but yet again, no trustees at the table. we gotta change this, guys. We really need transparency between our local governments and our county government. We need to be on the same team. I think we can get there, but we need to communicate better. That's all I have to say today.
Thank you, Eric.
And the last one, unless there's anybody else that did not sign up, is Brian Baker.
Good afternoon, Brian Baker, 49822 Greystone Drive, Brownham Township. I guess my concern would be is first of all, if you didn't get the information, it legally has to be tabled. My second concern is I live in Brownham. There's a lot of talk about what's going on out there. They have a meeting on, I think, 122, talking about land use, so I guess I'm looking for a clarification is if they don't adopt what you put here, they don't have to use it. I guess that's the question that I would have, because it seems like you're going to approve this today. They're going to have a hearing on something on the 22nd in Brownhelm, and there's all kinds of rumors out there. By my house, there's talking about a data center, all these things, and it's out my back window. So I do have a major concern. What's going to happen? It doesn't seem like here, and I come to the meetings, so I pay attention when these are, and if it affects me in my area, I'm going to show up to it. And so I guess my concern is two things. I would recommend you table it because I think legally you probably have to, because if someone didn't receive their information, you're bypassing your 30 days that you have to have it out. So with that, I just say it just seems like the cart before here's Brownhelm already, and I hope they're not putting us out there to do something on the 22nd, but I will be at that meeting because that affects me personally, so thank you.
Well, I can answer your question. The Brownhelm process is separate from this process.
Okay.
So they're in the process of updating their long-term zoning plan.
Okay.
This is just the subdivision regulations. So that's a separate process from what we're doing here.
Thank you for the clarification, ma'am.
Thank you for your comments. And
And I would add to
Jeff?
that, for both again, is that, again, the zoning, like they're going through, and like many of you have done, that's to decide what to do with the land. But when it involves the construction of housing development subdivisions, you guys the townships have said, we want the engineer to represent us. And we want the planning commission to represent us. We want the commissioners to represent us. So at the end of the day, all we did was put our group together. And if we'd had something that we wanted to change in the townships, we'd have said, hey, townships, you need to come to the table. But this is all about what happens after the townships use their authority and control to determine what to do with the land. And there's, and Brownhelm is not the only one that's going through land use, but none of what we did impacts anything until you've done what you do.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct. I agree with
So,
that.
but I appreciate it, and Brian, I appreciate the fact that for the first time in months you've agreed with me, because I already volunteered that we need to table it.
Let me, if I can, what we'll do is we'll send it out, as I said. I will convene a meeting with the representatives from the trustees. You, Carl, since you're the most vocal about this, you let me know who you'd like at that meeting.
Okay.
After you after you guys get this, come together with questions or comments you have, we'll go through it. There is a process. The process is easier before it's sent out for adoption than it is
Yes.
once it's
Well,
adopted.
that's what we thought too.
Yeah, and so what'll happen is, and when we get, like you raised a question, and I circulate it to the team, which includes the engineer and stormwater and our county planning, to opine and legal. Are there any questions with the recommendation being made? So we'll go through that process again. It's not, like I said, there's no urgency. We don't have to get this done today. We want to make you comfortable. So what we'll do is, I'll let you lead the process on the trustee side. You get the information, have them funnel everything through you or your group of trustees.
Okay.
We'll sit down and meet, and then from that point, we won't set a meeting today. I won't say it'll be in 30, it's got to be at least 30 days notice, right, Teresa? And we're not going to say it's going to be in January if we have to sit down and work through this, but we will get it done, and your input will be valuable and included in the process.
Thank you.
Hey, Dave?
Yes, sir.
As we set that calendar, what I think we need to do is determine what the final document looks like that they don't have. We need to get it in their hands. the meter starts then to give them enough time to review it and come back and ask those questions.
Correct.
And then set the public notices to do what we did here. But I would like to, just as, from a guy who's not lived in this world as long as you all have.
Now,
I'm
wait a
not
minute.
talking about years, I'm talking about private
You're getting
sector.
too close to Carl now.
Now we're getting a little closer.
I'm not talking about age, I'm talking about private, public sector. The system worked today.
It is.
It did,
I
it
agree.
worked today,
I agree, it is.
okay?
That's why you hold the
Kudos.
public meetings.
Dave's taking a few bullets here and he didn't wear his Kevlar, okay? But
That's why he's standing way over there.
But he set
I know
up
not
the
to be this
joint
close to you,
meeting.
Carl.
He set up this thing as a joint meeting as part of the process, and he told you, this has not happened before. And I'm very proud that we're all here. And even though we disagree, I believe we will at the end of the process. But I want, more than getting your vote for this document, we want your trust when we're done. Okay? We want to do the right thing the right way,
We're on the way.
okay?
I can say that I agree with those sentiments, and I've been 11 years now on the Planning Commission and the subdivision subcommittee, and that's the first time that we have had that kind of support.
Well, you're due a Bronze Star, 11 years. Okay. All right, what's next, Teresa?
No more public comment?
Is there more public comment?
Nope,
Okay.
I think that was it.
it was
Nope.
done.
Anybody that did sign up to, that wants to while you're here?
I think we'll wait for the next one.
Okay.
Or adjourn?
So basically, you're gonna have to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Oh, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second,
Discussion.
okay.
Marty's quick.
Did you want to do it? Oh, okay.
Just close.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then we'll need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Everybody's. Hey, you guys accuse me of being fast.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
Okay, now what? We got